Hi beautiful, welcome to my channel. In today's video we are going to determine what is my all-time favorite foundation. For context, I was always kind of like in between the Chanel No. 1 foundation. This has been a favorite one of mine for a very long time, and my trusty Pat McGrath Skin Fetish foundation. Around a couple years ago, maybe a year ago, I kind of put these two side by side. The Pat McGrath one won, and so up until very recently, there was nothing in my collection that I like better than my Pat McGrath Skin Fetish foundation. However, in the past couple of months, I also acquired the Guerlain Terracotta Le Tint foundation and the Very Valentino foundation, and I have been obsessed with the both of these. So today we are putting all of my favorite foundations to the test. We are going to compare them side by side. We're doing wear test on all of these, and we are going to determine which one is my all-time favorite. For reference, I have dry skin, and all of these foundations have very similar qualities to one another, which is the reason why they are my favorite, and also the reason why I'm trying to determine which one I like best. The qualities are, they are all medium buildable coverage foundations with a thin texture, a luminous finish. They cover all of the redness I might have on my face. They perfect the color of my skin, and they all look extremely skin-like on me. They all sink right into my skin. Nothing looks ever patchy, nothing looks ever textured, nothing looks ever dry on me when I'm wearing these foundations. So, because they are all so similar to one another, and because I can't stop reaching for these foundations specifically, I am going to put them to the test side by side to determine which one is my all-time favorite one. One more thing to note, up until very recently, this Pat McGrath one, unbeatable for me. It was very similar to the Chanel No. 1, but it looked a bit more skin-like on me because it is a bit thinner. And this is my third bottle of the Pat McGrath foundation. Anyways, I'm going to host a semi-final and then a final with these foundations. Today we are putting to the test the Pat McGrath Skin Fetish foundation versus the Guerlain Terracotta Le Tint foundation. I'll do one of these on each side of my face. The next semi-final is going to be the No. 1, the Chanel foundation versus the Very Valentino foundation. And whichever foundation wins from both of these tests will go against each other for our final. I'm super excited about this video. I'm keeping it very simple and putting simply just skincare underneath my foundations to try them. I have on Magic Cream, which works as a primer, and then on top of the foundations, I'm going to be using the same products for each test to stay super consistent. So let's go ahead and go for it. On the right side of my face, I'm going to do one pump of the Terracotta Le Tint foundation. And this is my BK Beauty 101 brush with which I plan on blending everything out. I'm not gonna lie, this is the second time I do this test. The first time I did it, I got confused with like what foundation was on each side, and it ruined this whole video for me. So, take two. Here is the Guerlain side. I'm going to literally leave the Guerlain foundation bottle to the side that it is on so that I do not get confused this time. Guerlain foundation on the right. And look at how stunning that looks already. This foundation covers everything super evenly. It takes care of all of my redness. It sinks right into my skin. It looks nice and natural. I love it. And I'll probably say the exact same thing about each and every one of these foundations because that is pretty much the way I feel about all of them, which is why I wanted to know if I have an all-time favorite. So the Guerlain foundation is on. Take a look right there. I'll show you it with the light down in a second, but first let's put on my Pat McGrath foundation. By the way, my Guerlain foundation is in the shade 2N. I'll have all of the shades written down below in the description box where these foundations are of course listed and linked. If you're interested in buying any of these foundations, please shop from my links down there. And now it is time for the foundation that currently holds the belt, and that is the Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection foundation in the shade Light Medium 9. So we're doing one pump of this one as well. And with the same brush, distributing everything. Right away, I can tell you the main difference between these two formulas is that the Pat McGrath foundation is thinner. The colors are pretty close to one another. Both of them have a radiant finish. Like I said, both of them are nice and thin. They sink right into the skin. As you can see, the Pat McGrath one, which is over on this side, has a bit more of a luminous finish to it in comparison to the Terracotta Le Tint foundation from Guerlain. Both of them look really beautiful and they have a very similar amount of coverage. Like I said, Pat McGrath just a teeny tiny bit thinner versus Guerlain is a bit more on the creamy side. One pump of them on each side of my face seemed to cover everything that I wanted covered, so that is fantastic news right there. Bringing out the mirror to look up close, see if I can tell you any more differences. I think right now the Pat McGrath side looks a bit more skin-like than the Terracotta Le Tint side. This side looks a bit more on top of my skin rather than sunken right in. In comparison to this one, honestly, they both look very natural, but because I love all of these foundations so much, we are going to go through every single detail. I'm going to use my magnifying mirror to like really pay attention to every single detail, right? None of them are settling into any lines next to my mouth. And honestly, I knew that both would look amazing. There is a reason that these are my favorite. I'm going to lower the light to show you with the light down what they look like side by side. Here is the Pat McGrath side over here, and then here is the Guerlain side. I feel like on camera maybe the Guerlain side might look a bit better right now because it's not as glowy, but I promise you in real life I feel like I like the Pat McGrath side just a bit better. It looks a bit more skin-like to me. We of course are not just counting on how the foundation looks like when it's just applied. We are going to wear it all day, compare it a couple more times throughout the day and see ultimately which one is better. So what I'll do right now is I'm going to finish up my makeup and I'll see you guys later to compare the foundation in natural light. It's a little bit later and I am outside. Here is what the Guerlain side looks like in natural lighting. And here is what my Pat McGrath side looks like in natural lighting. Since you last saw me, I also finished my makeup. I did my bronzer, my blush, put on a lip, a little mascara. And so here's what we're looking like so far. It looks the same as when I first put it on. I am preferring the Pat McGrath side a bit more right now, but it's just been an hour since I applied it, so we'll see as the day goes by. All right, I'm in the car now, and I was looking in my front camera, and I feel like you guys can see this right here, the Guerlain side. Even though it still looks beautiful and glowy and natural, it seems a little bit more makeup-y than the Pat McGrath side. I feel like this side overall just looks a little bit smoother. I've now been wearing both foundations for maybe 3 hours, so I will keep you posted. I'm back and it's the end of the day for me. Right now it is 9:04 and I applied this foundation at like 11 a.m. the latest. It was probably closer to 10:30-ish. So I've been wearing both of these foundations now for over 10 hours and this is what they are looking like. At this point, we have a definite winner, and that is the Pat McGrath Skin Fetish foundation still, which is the one that I have on this side of my face. As you can see, even though I wiped my makeup off of my nose earlier, the foundation over on this side still looks nice and glowy. My skin still looks nice and hydrated versus on the Terracotta Le Tint foundation side over here, even though there aren't that many super visible differences because this is also a great foundation. I feel like throughout the day, this side, especially on my cheek area here, became just a little bit more dry looking. This side stayed hydrated, which made it continue to look very skin-like. And so for that reason, even though I absolutely still love both of these foundations, I feel like my dry skin tends to like the Pat McGrath foundation a little bit better because it just looks a bit more natural on me. Like I said, the differences are extremely minor. We are looking at them under a magnifying glass over here, but Pat McGrath definitely wins round one. Today's foundation battle is the Very Valentino foundation. I have mine in the shade LN4. I'm going to list the shades of all of these down below in the description box, versus the Chanel No. 1 foundation in B20. So we are going to be comparing these two today. Also, ignore my hair because I'm about to film a video that has to do with hair, so I haven't done anything to it because I'm waiting to film that video, so just ignore it for now. Anyways, I'm going to use the same brush that I used yesterday, my BK Beauty 101 brush, and I already moisturized my face with Magic Cream, which is going to act as my primer. Okay, so on this side we are doing Very Valentino, one pump of it. We'll see if we can keep the one pump thing going. So I'm distributing it all throughout the right side of my face with the BK Beauty 101 brush. The shade LN4, as you can see, pure perfection. The redness is gone and this half of my face is covered. I went ahead and cleaned my brush and we are doing one pump of the Chanel foundation on this side. I haven't used my Chanel foundation in a long time because I have very little left of it in the bottle and I'm trying to like not finish it. And once again, I am just blending it with my brush over on the left side of my face. On camera, I don't think I can tell much of a difference. Maybe the Chanel is a bit glowier today compared to the Very Valentino foundation on this side, which is not something I expected. But let me check in the mirror to confirm. Yes, I think the Chanel one is a tad bit glowier than the Very Valentino one. However, I do see a difference right away today. And I find that the Chanel side looks not much. Like I said, we were looking at minor differences here, but I think this side looks a bit more makeup-y than the Very Valentino side. Like the Very Valentino side sunk right into the skin a little better than the Chanel side did. Let me lower the light and show you with the light down. Here is the Very Valentino side. As you can see, it looks like just perfect, flawless skin. And then here is the Chanel side, which also looks like perfect, flawless skin. And I don't know if it's translating on camera, but in the mirror, I feel like the Very Valentino side just fits like a glove, versus this one might just look a bit more foundation-y on my skin. Barely any difference between the two though, but that is kind of how I feel first impressions with these foundations freshly applied. So just like I did yesterday, I'm going to finish my makeup. I have other videos to film today, and after several hours I'll be back to compare how these two foundations are wearing. So far the Very Valentino foundation is winning. So yeah, I'll see you guys in a few hours. Alright, I'm back and it is actually the next day. I didn't film any other clips yesterday because I got super busy, but also the bottom line is that nothing really changed much throughout the day. The same things I had seen when I had freshly applied both of these foundations, I continued to see and notice throughout the day. No foundation faded, nothing really changed much. The main thing was that the Chanel No. 1 foundation was definitely a bit more noticeable on my face. It didn't sink in as beautifully as the Very Valentino foundation did. So this one looked more natural, more glowy, and so this was definitely the winner for day 2, which means that today we are testing out the Very Valentino foundation against my all-time favorite still, the Pat McGrath foundation, to see if Pat McGrath still reigns or whether we have a new all-time favorite. I'm super excited for today's wear test. I'm very excited to see both of these foundations next to one another. I feel like out of all 4 of the foundations I tried in today's video, even though I picked them because they all were very similar to one another, these two are the most similar. They are the thinnest, they are the most glowy, they sink right into the skin, and so I feel like today's wear test hopefully will be an interesting one. So let's go ahead and put the foundations on. Just like in the previous 2 days, all I have on my face is Magic Cream as my primer, and Pat McGrath is going to be on the right side of my face. Very Valentino is going to be on the left side of my face. Okay, so 1 pump of Pat McGrath is getting distributed over here, covering all of the redness immediately as it usually does. And I am once again applying it with the BK Beauty 101 brush. I just wanted to keep every single foundation test pretty much the same. I'm putting the same products underneath, the same products on top. I'm applying it with the same brush because I wanted nothing to change in order to be able to truly test which one is my all-time favorite, especially since I can barely notice differences between the different foundations. So here is Pat McGrath looking glorious over on my right side. The brush is clean. Let's go for the Very Valentino side next. 1 pump once again, and we are distributing the foundation all throughout the left side of my face. Both foundations are applied. Let me lower the light a bit to show you what they look like. Here is the gorgeous Very Valentino side versus the stunning Pat McGrath side over here. Shade wise, my Pat McGrath foundation is a bit darker than the Very Valentino side, but that is definitely not what we're looking at. We are looking at the texture and how the foundation sinks into the skin and how natural each side of the foundation can look. I have my trusty mirror with me right here so we can look really up close at what everything is looking like. And so far the texture of both foundations looks extremely similar to one another in my opinion. However, I really thought I had a new favorite, but I think that I can see the Very Valentino foundation on my skin a bit more than I can see the Pat McGrath foundation on my skin, at least freshly applied. I think the Very Valentino side looks a bit more apparent than the Pat McGrath side. I do feel like this one still looks more natural. I'm very surprised. I really thought the Very Valentino side would look exactly the same at the very least, if not better. I truly thought I would like this side better. But like I said, this is freshly applied foundation. We have to wear it all day to truly see which one I like better. And I will do check-ins throughout the day today. I'll show you what it looks like outside and all of that. So again, Pat McGrath on my right, Very Valentino on my left. And I'll go ahead and quickly show you everything I've been putting on top of my foundations every day. So starting with, of course, my color corrector from Charlotte Tilbury, right in the darkest areas of my under eyes and inner corner. Then I've been using my Very Valentino concealer on top. After the concealer is blended, a little bit of my Givenchy translucent powder just under my eyes right here. And a little bit on top as well, just to set the concealer up there. Also a bit of powder right through the center of my face. For bronzer, I've been obsessing over my Gucci bronzer. This is definitely my summer bronzer this year. I can't stop using it. Silky Rose from Gucci is my blush. And I haven't been using any setting spray because I want to see how the foundations wear throughout the day. So I have not been setting my face with anything. What I did do day one, which I want to do again today, is with a big fluffy brush. This is the A14 from Ariel. A little bit of my Gucci bronzer. And I'm just deepening up the outer half of my eye a bit through the crease, kind of to match the rest of my face, very lightly. Just like this. If I ever do a one shadow eyeshadow look, this is what I do. And as you can see, it doesn't have to be eyeshadow, it can be bronzer, but just one shade to deepen up the crease a bit. This is my favorite eye look to do if I can only use one shade. So after this, maybe a lip balm and some mascara and I am done. So I will show you what this looks like outside. Okay, I'm outside once again in natural lighting. I did eat some spicy soup, so I took some foundation off of the sides of my nose, but we can compare the foundation everywhere else. And I gotta say, I just looked up close in the mirror of my downstairs bathroom, which for some reason seems to be the mirror that is the most honest with me. And in that mirror, I realized that Even though at first I was liking the Pat McGrath foundation a little bit better, right now, right this second, I cannot tell the difference between the two of them at all. It's been maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours since I first put it on. So here is the Very Valentino side, looking absolutely flawless, versus the Pat McGrath side, also looking absolutely flawless. So take a look super close to my face. Pat McGrath, Very Valentino, both of them looking absolutely amazing. So right now it is still up in the air. I don't know which one I am going to possibly pick because they both look incredible. So I'll see you guys later. It's 10:52. I put these foundations on today around noon, so it's been almost 11 hours since I've been wearing them. And I feel like this is about to be a very anticlimactic video because both of these foundations are that good. Like 11 hours in, both of them look nice and glowy. They let my oils come through a little bit of my forehead, but it looks nice and glowy and hydrated. It doesn't necessarily look like you're oily, you know, like this is a nice amount of glow. It looks a little glowy right here, but like as you can see, texture wise on my skin, they both still look phenomenal. This right here is the Very Valentino side, which you can see color wise is a bit lighter, and this right here is the Pat McGrath side, which is a bit darker in shade. But like as far as the texture of the foundations is concerned, 11 hours in, both of them look flawless still. Let me show you what it looks like 11 hours in with the light down, and you let me know down below in the comment section if you feel like we have a winner. Remember, Pat McGrath is on my right side, Very Valentino is on my left side. So I'm going to lower the light. Here we have the Pat McGrath side and what it looks like 11 hours in versus the Very Valentino side and what this one looks like 11 hours in. As you can see, absolutely nothing on my face looks dry. Everything looks glowy and hydrated. I did not touch up at all throughout the day, by the way. So I honestly don't know if I can declare a winner or a new favorite. I feel like instead of having one all-time favorite foundation, I now have two all-time favorite foundations because both of these look incredible on my skin. The advantages of the Pat McGrath foundation is that it goes on sale often. This foundation retails for $68, but every other month you can find it with a 30% off discount, a 25% off discount at the very least on the Pat McGrath website. So if you're interested in this one, keep an eye out because whenever Pat McGrath goes on sale, I always post about it, and you can snatch my favorite foundation with a 25 to 30% off discount. This foundation is incredible. This has been my favorite one for a very long time, and I am currently on my third bottle. Very Valentino, I only tried around a month and a half ago. Whenever the Sephora Spring Savings event happened, this was on my list to buy. I snatched it and I just could not believe how amazing it was, to the point where I had to make this video because I had to know if I had a new favorite foundation. I fell in love with both of these foundations during the Sephora sale, the Guerlain foundation and the Very Valentino foundation, and I was like, do I have a new all-time favorite? So I had to make this video to compare all of my favorites side by side, and the results a little inconclusive unfortunately, but you can count on both of this foundation being phenomenal for you if you, like me, have dry skin. I cannot wait to read your thoughts down below in the comment section of this video. Let me know if you think we have a clear winner. Do you think the Pat McGrath foundation side won or the Very Valentino foundation side? I honestly think we have a tie, which was definitely not the outcome I was expecting at all, but I love it because truly both of these foundations are phenomenal. So I highly recommend both of them. You cannot go wrong with these foundations. In fact, you cannot go wrong with any of the foundations we tried in today's video. I will say I have very, very dry skin, so these might be a little bit better for me, but if you have normal or combination skin, I'm actually going to recommend the Terracotta Le Tint foundation from Guerlain for you, because this one, even though on me is not as glowy throughout the day, is probably going to be the one that is going to last the longest on skin that isn't as dry as mine. All of these foundations are of course listed and linked down below in the description box of this video, and I included the shades that I have in all of these if you guys are interested down there. Whenever you shop from my links in the description box, you are helping out my channel, and you are also helping out my channel if you shop on the icon right here on the screen. This is a new YouTube shopping feature, which I really like because it shows you the little items of the stuff. Anyways, I love you guys so much. If you guys like today's video, don't forget to please give it a thumbs up. Before you leave, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I am very passionate about finding the best of the best that the beauty industry has to offer, so please don't leave without subscribing. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching today's video, and I hope to see you back in the next one. Bye.